Um, Welcome. Thanks for being here today. I'm Carolyn, Technical Analyst Team Lead at Creospark. We're a Microsoft partner that helps organizations get the most out of Microsoft 365. So whether that's through strategy, process improvement, or supporting change across teams. Today, we're focusing on one of the newest tools in that ecosystem, Copilot Chat, and how it can support your day-to-day work, no matter where you are in your AI journey. But first, here's a little bit about us. I want to introduce Paloma, one of the business analysts here at Creospark.
Yeah, hi, thank you. Very excited to be presenting with you today, and it's great to see everyone here.
Thanks, Paloma. I'm really excited to explore this concept of searching to asking and making the most out of Copilot Chat. So let's start with this core idea behind the session, a shift in how we get work done. We're moving from searching, we're scrolling through files, trying to remember names, to simply asking. So on the left is the familiar way. You search, filter, and hope you find what you need. On the right is Copilot Chat, where you can ask a question in plain language. It brings back summaries, insights, and answers, often across files, meetings, and conversations. It's no longer about where something lives, it's about what you need to know. And that shift from searching to asking is something you can start using today, even without a full Copilot license. So what is Copilot Chat? It's your built-in AI assistant across Microsoft 365. It helps with things like drafting, reviewing, brainstorming, and answering questions in natural language. With the full license, you can access it, well, even without the full license, it appears in Teams, Outlook, and Edge, or the Microsoft 365 apps. With the full license, it shows up inside of different Microsoft 365 apps. So without that Copilot license, Copilot Chat is grounded in web data, so it's useful for general writing help, productivity tips, or learning how to ask better prompts. When you do have that license, Copilot Chat will pull in context from your emails, documents, meetings, and more to give personalized, grounded response. Today, you'll see both experiences in action, with and without a license, so you can understand what's possible at every stage. So before we jump in, let's quickly introduce our two team members. Sarah is using Copilot Chat without a license. So she focuses on writing prompts, getting help with writing, and productivity coaching. Hannah has the full Microsoft 365 Copilot license, which gives her access to files, meetings, and project context. We're going to follow both of them through their day and show what Copilot Chat can do in each scenario. So I'm going to just take a second to get Copilot Chat up. Okay, so I'm following Hannah's experience. I'm sorry, Sarah's experience. So she was just in a meeting and is responsible for getting the meeting notes out. The meeting was recorded and she was able to save the meeting transcript to a file. But she decides this time she's tired of just getting a generic response from Copilot. So she asks, what are 5 ways to summarize a meeting? So again, no context, no license. She gets, here are 5 effective ways to summarize the meeting. So she reviews what Copilot's given her, and she decides to create an executive summary. So please help me draft this call. So again, because she doesn't have the license, she has to direct Copilot to find that file. It can't live in Teams or SharePoint, but if she's moved a file over to her OneDrive, she can pull this in. Here's the call that she wants. So give me a summary of this call that I can send out. So here's an executive summary of this project status call. She really needs to go through and make sure that the information in here is correct. Still has to kind of go and do that. But just with the prompt and adding the file, it is a very nice way of kind of making sure that all that information is there. So then later in the day, Sarah's drafted an email about another project, but she's wondering how her draft might sound more confident and professional. I'm going to paste the prompt and we can look at it a bit after it's in here. It's a little bit hard to see. So basically, kind of unstructured notes. It's a good draft, but that hasn't kind of formalized what it should look like. So here's a more confident and professional version of your message. You can see kind of Copilot has chunked it out and given some bullet points and given it a more confident tone. So again, she can kind of do this in the context of her work. And because it's Copilot Chat, it has that enterprise data protection. So keeps your company information more secure than if she were to do this in ChatGPT. And then finally, Sarah's felt like she just had this really busy day where she's done a lot of different activities and just wants to end the day in an organized manner. So she asked Copilot for a little help. And again, because Copilot doesn't have the full context or can't find all her calendar and all sorts of things, can still help. Give me a checklist to close out my workday effectively. Getting stuck. Here's a practical and professional end of day checklist. So then Sarah can use this, and maybe there's not something that doesn't quite hit the mark here. She could ask Copilot to refine it or just take it as is and do what is needed. But as you can see, even without the license, there's a number of very useful ways. We could take that transcript example and do the same thing with the document, or do lots of other ways to really take advantage of Copilot Chat. So now we're going to start to look at Hannah's day, and Paloma's going to walk us through how a Microsoft 365 Copilot license works with Copilot Chat.
Okay, thank you. I will just begin by sharing my screen. Hopefully that is good and clear. Just a thumbs up. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take over and walk through the same prompts, but I'm just going to adjust them slightly to show how Hannah, the licensed user, can take those prompts and expand them and demonstrate how access to your organization's data can help add value through, increased efficiency, more personalized information. And hopefully through these examples, the difference is clear. So let's just start with the same prompt as Sarah, the unlicensed user, did to ask Copilot to give 5 ways to summarize a meeting. So I'll go ahead and paste that in. Have this ready for me. I'll just send that into the chat, and this is a great starting point just to show how the Copilot Chat can guide users in framing their requests effectively, given that it has access to your data. So as we're seeing the prompts come in, you can see the first one is asking, summarize my last meeting with, and you can even just say someone's name, or you can say the name of the meeting. You don't have to add a link to the meeting. You don't have to upload a transcript. What you can do is just say, I'll go ahead and copy that and paste that in. I can just say summarize my last, and I'll add in status call meeting, and I'll throw that into the chat. And now, because Hannah is the licensed user and Copilot Chat has access to her Outlook, her meeting transcripts, and her recordings, it can identify the most recent call that is called status call and provide a high-level overview summary that then Hannah can take, review, always make edits just to make sure it aligns to what the meeting was about and, the context of how you want to share the information. and then send it off to her team that was in the status call. So this is just a, a great example of how Copilot Chat with the license can help you save time and add value by being able to, be context aware, because it does have access to your information. So you can, condense the time to summarize your meeting by just saying the name of it, not having to go into any other, locations to find the actual transcript itself. Really cuts down that, that time. Okay, let's move on to our next prompt of rewriting the message. And we're going to use the exact same one so you can see the difference between it. And the other example was just asking it to, sound more professional, more confident. But with the license, we're going to go a little bit further, and we're actually going to align it with our organization's brand voice. So I'm just going to jump into the next tab here. Okay, yeah, it's loaded. Okay, so we have Evie. Evie is a fake organization for this demo purpose. And Hannah works at Evie, and they've documented a brand voice guideline. Sorry, it's just, okay. Signing me in, security is important. Okay, so it goes through our brand personality, language, tone, grammar, word choices, everything that someone at Evie, an employee at Evie, should know when communicating with internal and external stakeholders. So what we're going to do is we're going to use that information, and I'm going to go ahead and start a new chat and paste in the same message. I'm going to ask it to be more confident, professional, but I'm going to take it a step further by asking it to use the Evie voice guide. And I've added this part in just to show us how it's going to reflect the Evie voice. So I will send that in. Okay. And because Hannah has access to this internal documentation, Copilot is able to reference those voice guidelines and rewrite it to match the Evie's tone. So, making it more confident, friendly, and concise. And just by asking, and asking Copilot to give us this reflection of Evie's voice, it'll help Hannah know how it's aligned, and it can help her build trust in, the system as she's starting to use it for the first time, and just in general allows you to gain a little bit of trust in Copilot and see that it's pulling from data, and always, of course, review, make updates as needed. But yeah, this is just an example of Copilot being able to make your content sound better, but also making it sound right for your organization by having access to your data. And let's move on to help Hannah wrap up her day. So our last prompt is going to be similar. It's going to be helping us generate a checklist, but with a license, Copilot is going to generate a more personalized data-driven checklist based off of Hannah's actual activity for that day. And so it's going to be a sort of similar prompt, but taking advantage of the data that Hannah has. So we'll start a new chat again, and I'll just paste in. So my prompt is going to create an end of day checklist, and I'm telling Copilot Chat to look in my emails, Teams messages, and files to help me prioritize the tasks that I should do to close out today and things that I can, leave it for tomorrow. So I'll go ahead and send that in. And as you can see, hopefully if it loads, you'll be able to see that it's not just a to-do list, a generic to-do list. It's smart, it's context aware, and it's going to help Hannah prioritize what matters most in her day. And hopefully it loads. It does take some time because it is looking through your recent messages, your files, your conversations, so you don't have to go hunting for all of that information. And you can put time towards, the tasks themselves instead of having to spend the time to collect the information for those tasks. And as it's working, I've done this already. So you can see here just an example, because I don't want to spend too much time waiting. You can see I put in the same prompt and it's created a checklist. I can then go in, complete these items for today, and then put these on my to-do list for tomorrow. Okay. I'm going to transition back into the slide deck because that was the end of the activities. Let me just get this set up on my end. Okay, so let's now just recap what we saw in action. So first, Copilot Chat is already here and it's powerful even without the full license. So you can start asking, exploring, and getting value right away. Second, we saw how shifting from searching to asking isn't just faster, it's smarter because Copilot understands context. It can connect dots for you and deliver insights that search alone can't. And finally, we got a real sense of what the full license actually does unlock. When Copilot has access to your information, like your teams, your documents and calendar, the answers become richer and more personalized, and you can take action immediately. Okay, let that load. These are the prompts that you saw, or the variations of the prompts that you just saw. These are going to be great for you to try today, and you can take them, modify them, and make them align more to your workflow. But these are just great prompts to help you get an idea of how to ask better questions and build fluency in AI, how you can use AI to improve your messages, clarity, tone, and you can also help ask AI to help you change your messaging depending on your target audience. And finally, it can be a way to use AI to help you build better habits that you'd like to start integrating into your daily routines. And we will be sending, I think we might have already sent them. We're sending little handouts of these prompts, and I'll jump to the next slide. We also have another set of prompts. These are great to help your team get started today. There are 10 simple ways to begin using Copilot. Examples of just how Copilot can help you streamline everyday tasks, help with productivity, and make work just more efficient. Personally on my end, I really like to use Copilot for my first, after I've done my first draft. So I'll just start by putting all of the information I know into the page, into my email, whatever it is that my brain has come up with. And then I'll use Copilot to help me scale back or clarify my messages to make them easier to understand and digest depending on the audience that I'm working with. Okay. Going on to my next slide. Before we wrap up, I did want to just take a moment to address some important considerations around Copilot licensing. So whether you're anticipating some pushback, or maybe you're just unsure of who would benefit the most from a license, or you just want to avoid assigning licenses that will go unused, here are just some recommendations to help guide your approach. So first off, be intentional with license assignment. Maybe in the beginning, not everyone actually needs that full license, as you were seeing from this demonstration. Maybe you want to consider more of a split approach, though some team members actually might benefit from full access, while others might only need chat functionality without the license. It's also good to just use data to inform your decision. So, look at who is actually using Microsoft 365s today. Those individuals may be more likely to be able to integrate Copilot into their workflows right away and see immediate value. And last, explore department-specific use cases. So Microsoft has a scenario library which you can use to help understand how your different teams can benefit. And this can help you align, license distribution with your organization's success criteria and ensure that the investment is delivering impact. This is where we come into play. So if your organization is planning to adopt Microsoft 365 Copilot and you're looking for support, Creospark offers a few different services to help. We're happy to chat, and if you'd like to learn more, figure out what might be the right fit for you, and we're going to be putting in one of our offerings into the chat as well. And before we wrap up, I'd just love to get your feedback. So if you want to scan the QR code to complete a quick survey, it helps us to improve sessions like this, making sure we're tailoring this content for your needs. So with that being said, thank you so much for your time today. I believe we have time for Q&A, so just going to.
Yeah, I just answered one of the questions in the chat, which was if for organizations who are super privacy focused, how uploads on the free version. Right now, there's no way to block uploads. So you either have this on or off. Right now, Microsoft has made it the default office.com experience, but there is a way for tenant admins to disable that. So it's not going to be storing that file in your tenant. So I showed an example of a file being in OneDrive. So that file is already in your tenant. They can upload. If they put that file, I guess it is uploading, but it would be the same as if they uploaded it to their OneDrive. So I guess like the good news is it's limited to that person's OneDrive. But right now there's no way to change the experience that we showed. It's either on or off. Let me see. I don't think anybody's put anything in the Q&A tab. We do have a couple of minutes left if people had other questions. Oh, I think Igor was asking about if we're sharing recording. I believe we're sharing the recording out on this, just like with a regular webinar. So it should go out. I think what we really wanted to show is that because organizations are in different levels of readiness, that using and rolling out, or even perhaps rolling out the free experience of Copilot Chat is a good way for people to kind of get used to it, used to the capabilities. And yes, there's more steps if you wanted to have it review documents or have it do certain things, but you already have this really powerful tool at your fingertips. So give everyone just another moment, see if anyone else has any questions. But if not, again, Paloma and I thank you all for spending some time with us today to kind of go over what I think is just a really kind of mind-shifting way of thinking about information. That idea of one of the things when we do consulting is we always hear people say they can't find documents, they can't find information, and Copilot Chat really kind of takes away, you don't have to know where a document lives, or you don't have to know the name of it, and with that full license, you can still get that information pretty easily.